Hello everybody, my name is Pravus, and welcome back to more Hearts of Iron 4 Old World Blues. We have a new version of the mod to look at today, version 3.0, Monster of the East. This adds in a new Texas region and a whole bunch of nations down over there, plus reworks the Oklahoma region and the Mojave region. So a lot of cool new features to look at in the map in this latest major update, as well as some economic changes and a lot more. This looks pretty darn cool. Now, I don't remember exactly when this new update to Old World Blues is supposed to go live on the Steam Workshop. It may actually already be doing so. I will try to leave it a link in the description down below. But the developers of this mod were kind enough to reach out and ask if I would like to take an early look. And of course I said yes, so let's go ahead and do that right now and start up a new game. You can see, just like with the Mexican update, we can actually now select Texas specifically as a region, which is helpful because it will show you some of the best nations to pick in this latest and greatest edition. Now, one thing to notice right here, Lanius' Cohort, this is a major change to Caesar's Legion, which has been reworked quite a bit, but Lanius' Cohort is kind of a separate, but not really separate entity within the Legion, with a whole new national focus tree just for him, and it's very conquest heavy. Unfortunately, we've already played Lanius, otherwise I think this would be perfect for us today. The Texan Brotherhood of Steel is who we are going to be playing today. These guys look pretty fun. Lone Star, a democracy that tries to control a lot of the trade in the Texas region. We have the Twin Mothers, Chickasaw Nation, Shales Army, Unity of Austin. There's a lot of cool stuff to enjoy. And let's actually take a quick look at the map itself, and I'll show you. So pretty much all of this is new, which is quite a bit. Again, I'm looking forward to playing as the Texan Brotherhood. Some other things have changed, I believe, down here. I don't know if we've seen some changes up around the NCR. I do believe the Mojave Chapter down here got its own national focus tree, so that is certainly quite cool. And there's Lanius' Cohort. Again, separate but not from Caesar's Legion right here, and they are going to become a major powerhouse in the game, so that's going to be fun. But let's go ahead and get going with the Texan Brotherhood, because I'm very partial to these brotherhoods. The power armor is always fun, plus the developers told me that there is going to be some political issues that will come to a head very early on in the Texan Brotherhood, which should be fun. And then from there, I'm hoping we're going to get to do at least a little bit of conquest. I should probably turn off the debug mode I was using to look at a lot of the national focus trees. Okay, so here we are in the Texan Brotherhood of Steel. First things first, let's gather up all of the armies and add them into a quick pile. We have, looks like some motorcycles, rapid response groups, light patrols, regular troops, power armor, a whole bunch of different fun things. We'll take a look at more of that in a little bit. Let's start with the national focus tree and the spirits, etc. So we are led by Edward J. Rusk. He is a popular figurehead, which gives us extra stability and war support. However, he is stagnant, reducing our political power gain, which is pretty darn bad. But again, giving more stability because he's very familiar, and we're getting more planning speed out of all this. Okay, not so bad. He is the ruler. There are no elections. This is a ruling of one ideology type. Actually, specifically, yeah, it's a ruler-type ideology, not oligarchic intellectuals or elites, just one ruling person. Okay. We have the Lone Star Economic Advisors, which I believe comes from these little guys right up here, who are kind of our buddies. We're all a part of some sort of a Texan economic union at the start of the game, which might turn into a Provisional Republic of Texas later. We will see. So from this, we get some extra production efficiency growth, civilian factories, infrastructure. All of these are good for me. Military heritage, reducing consumer goods is awesome, but research speed minus 20%? Ouch! That hurts a lot for a brotherhood. I'm not a fan of that at all. And Texan Economic Union, there it is, reducing my political power gain again, but more consumer goods reduction, so we'll get a lot of extra civilian factories at the beginning of the game. Now, most of the policies down here, I believe, are pretty familiar. We have our military staff. Military policies, I think, have changed a little bit. Now you have deputization. I think that's a little bit different than what it used to be, which is basically going to change up your recruitable population. We actually have a unique one here called Texas Paladins, which looks pretty awesome. Maybe we can work our way toward that in the future. Let's see, there's still the Outsiders, Undesirables, and Mutants, Legendary Wastelanders, and so on and so forth. Economic policies, now this has apparently been reworked a bit, and I'm pretty sure the developers are trying to give us new uses for things like bottle caps, which is pretty fun. So we have provisions for protection, which looks like basically civilian economy and is pretty bad. Open to traders looks like just generic trade law, but then you have things like wages. Brotherhood and Mutant. It looks like we need some new text on these, so I'm imagining this will change at some point, but there is going to be things like caps, income, and expenses based on wage laws for the people in your nation. And this is just for the Brotherhood. If we actually swapped over, and I'm going to go ahead and do this real quick and just show you. Let's go to T-Debug over here, whoops, and go to, let's say, the Lone Star. I think they have something different. We can see what they've got as far as their wage law, because this is a new feature, I believe, so let's see. Yeah, standard wages disallow wage changes for 140 days, and this does lead to a few different things as far as caps can be expended at a higher rate to get extra experience and organization. So they're really trying to change up the use of the caps and make them a heck of a lot stronger, and it looks like you can swap these around pretty much whenever you want. This actually looks a little bit like Army Maintenance in EU4. You know, mothball provisions and stuff to save a whole load of money. That's kind of interesting. It is kind of interesting. All right, well, we'll see how that ends up working for us. As a Brotherhood, it doesn't look like we have a whole lot of options to us. And let's get rid of that nasty little tooltip. There we go. Okay, so anyway, so that's what's going on down over here. Most of the rest of this I think you've already seen before. Let's take a look at that national focus tree. So we have not an absolute ton of options over here. We have to start with the Long March West, which will be done in 7 days. As we've seen in Old World Blues, a lot of the early focuses like to kind of tell some of the story. So the Addis's army's flight to Texas brought the Texan Brotherhood to bear against them. Split from the Western Brotherhood, the High Elder Rhombus led a contingent of men west in pursuit of Addis's goons. So we'll go ahead and find out what our story is going to be along there. And then, I don't know, depending on what the political situation ends up being, maybe we end up getting a whole new national focus tree. We've seen that before, or maybe this is all we're going to get. In which case, I don't know, we'll see what ends up happening. I think there are some conquest options, but maybe not an absolute ton. Alright, so let's see. We only have a handful of civilian factories available to us at the start of the game, so we should probably go ahead and build up some more, and I will happily do so in these regions like so. So that's going to be a handful more civilian factories. After that, I think we probably do want to focus on some military factories, maybe even some infrastructure or something, but for now, let's just say that that's good enough, and we'll reorganize a little bit later. I do have 4 research slots at the beginning of the game, which is nice. It does look like some things may have been rearranged a little bit here. Maybe I'm crazy. Riot control? That looks new to me. I could be wrong. Crowd gear. Enables enforcers. Fascinating. Hardness value. It looks to me like these actually might be kind of almost like the equivalent of the armored cars that you have in La Resistance. Yeah, that might be exactly what the point is. And then, of course, we have all the power armor and so on. It looks like we actually start with Vault-Tec PA power armor over here, so that certainly is nice for me. Okay, so we have a few options down along here. Actually, a few things have been rearranged. So support, this looks all pretty standard. Vehicles, new icons up here. That's pretty awesome. Land doctrine, specialized doctrines, air, naval, industry, and engineering. Well, we do want to focus a lot on those. Let's see. Do we want to go? I think we want to go for the improvised tools to start us off. We'll grab that. We also want to go for work assignments or work as needed. I think we're going to go for the work assignments, probably. Yeah, that should be okay. So we'll go ahead and start working on some of that. Construction tech, absolutely need to get some of those. And we probably should go to engineering and start working on some research speed as well. So there's a lot of that going on there. Reward technologies. Ooh, some new things here. Mini nukes. What the heck are mini nukes? Consists of 4 major principal components. That's a big boy right there. Or the fat boy? No, I think it's called the big boy. The detonator shell on the bottom. Okay, I know how to build one of these. Probably shouldn't say that, but I do. Let's see. Shell batches. A few things down here I don't know a lot about. Are there any special new techs over here? Texan Brotherhood buffs. Okay, so maybe we will be able to unlock something. Lawkeeper platoons. We can make them a lot stronger. Fascinating. Okay. And Fallout tech level folder. I'm guessing that this is kind of like the tribal, civilized, and advanced trees we had seen before where everything was split between them, right? So maybe that's what this is. Huh, but they're all blocked. So maybe at some point there will come a time when we can. For example, I'll never get to learn how to do robotics unless an option comes to let me get an upgrade here. I don't know. Maybe there's actually ways to progress along the eras if you have, like, everything previously researched. I have no idea. We're just going to go ahead and move forward at speed 5 and find out what's going on. Oh, wait, no, we should actually work on factories. Hang on. Well, first off, I have a handful of troops. Let's take a look at my logistics. Everything here is looking kind of okay. I probably should start building some more power armor just because I do tend to like those a lot. And we don't necessarily need motorcycles. Do we have, like, support equipment? Yeah, let's go ahead and start working on some of those using my remaining factories there, because those usually end up being kind of important, and it's easier to run out of some of those. Water only -1, not really worried about that right now. Could also start working on some of the dockyards, I suppose. Build ships? Sure, we'll go ahead and just build up some canoes. Takes even more water, unfortunately, so we may want to trade with Lone Star for some of that, and I guess I will. Actually, no, I won't, because I don't care that much about building ships. I'd rather be slow on the production there instead. Okay, hang on. So, we just got the chase. The long march west is done. The Texas Brotherhood truly began when news reached them of the rise of Attis and his army, a splinter group of super mutants hell-bent on carrying the legacy of the Master. Alarmed elements of the Brotherhood split off and began a long, grueling chase with the only purpose of eradicating them before they could carry on whatever horrible scheme they had in mind. Rhombus, the leader of the expedition, had to assemble his forces for the arduous path ahead, and so he gathered a detachment of knights, which gets me extra division speed, power gain, mobilization speed and recruitable population sounds really good, a balanced retinue. Just 1,000 manpower, short-term gain, this is better for long-term, and traveled with but a few paladin veterans. National Spirit Elites, which gives me acclimatization in different factors. You know, I think I'm going to go for the balanced retinue. Mobilization speed is decent, but recruitable population 2% actually can end up being very significant in a game where manpower is a pretty darn precious resource. The bottle cap economy. Now, this is with 2.1, so I'm imagining a lot of this is going to have to be reworked a little bit. But for now, we'll just go ahead and move on and say I'm already expert because I don't think that tooltip has yet been updated. Always ready, always there. Let's go ahead and work on the next level and just move forward, wait a few days, and then boom. I'm always glad to see some new updates to Old World Blues. It is certainly one of the best mods for Hearts of Iron, easily. Not to mention, it's just cool. I mean, Fallout-based content, yes please. It's a real crowd pleaser. There we go, all right. On his travels throughout the lands, Rhombus and his detachment kept growing in size. Tales of his heroic quest and the possibility of an end to the super mutant menace had rallied many to his cause as his expedition marched. Now in Texas, he and his forces encountered the remnants of the National Guard. Learning of his goal, they asked him to join him to put an end to Attis's madness. Rhombus knew his group was already wary of newcomers and wouldn't accept them easily. He decided to absorb them, lose a lot of base stability, ouch. Accept them as civilians, lose some stability, but at least gain some workshops. That's not bad. Give them the rank of knight and assign them to maintenance for military workshops, or reject them, lose some manpower, gain base stability. I think I'm going to go for the civilian workshops just so we can ramp up in our economy a little faster, though losing 10% stability does hurt at least a little bit. Let's move on with the rest of our background story. That seems reasonable. Let's see what else we got over here. Anything exciting? Diplomacy, trade. Looking to see if there's any, like, new features. There's the intelligence agency. Hello. Could create one of those. It would take 3 factories, apparently. And we can actually take a look at decisions here and see what's changed in the bottle caps economy. Right now, our expenses are pretty darn minor, so we seem to be pulling in quite a few caps per quarter. We could lift taxes on luxury goods. Military signing bonuses, invest in small businesses. That's not bad. If I had 15,000 caps in order to boost that up, that's not bad at all. Political bribes. Ooh. Save a lot of political power. Cool. Okay. We can prioritize different technologies. That all looks normal. I think simulator trainings might be new. Could be wrong on that, but that might be new. If so, I've never used it. Maybe? I don't know. So Lanius' cohort over here, we can actually get a little look at his national focus tree. You can see it's actually pretty darn compact. It's very dense. There's a lot to do, and so many of these are war goals at the end of the day, or maybe just claim, I think, is what we're looking for. Yeah, look at all these guys that are highlighted right now. 17 that give some form of claims. Yikes! These guys are going to be conquest heavy as heck! If I hadn't already done a Caesar's Legion series where he played as Lanius, I would be tempted to do this now. We might come back to it later and give it another shot. Although, honestly, the Mojave Chapter could be really fun, just very difficult. Alright, the Brotherhood expedition encountered a most peculiar group once they arrived in Texas, and settled down in preparation for the battle ahead. A group of so-called Texas Rangers met them, led by a ghoul calling himself Ledrock Runner. Ledrock, or Ledrock, or however you're supposed to say his name, presented himself as the only remaining descendant of the pre-war Texas Rangers, trying to keep peace throughout the land, and he was appalled at what Addis has wrought throughout his jurisdiction. He wanted to join the expedition and put the mutants 6 feet under. Of course, Rhombus accepted. I have no choice. This does reduce the cost of military leaders, and all military leaders actually end up being a lot stronger. Okay. So this is one of those cases where having some ghouls actually ends up being a very good thing for me. Yeah, he's actually a pretty darn good general right here. Nice stats across the board. He's charismatic, he's enduring, and he's perceptive. Yep, we'll go ahead and just put him in charge over there, and I guess I could do some drilling and stuff. Should we do that? I mean, all the units are already of at least regular rank, so we'd have to be wasting a lot of equipment for not a lot of gain. Could add in some new traits with you as well. Let's see, reconnaissance, sniper, land night attack, survivalist can be decent. Don't know about invasion, don't care about that too much. Can have him lead more armies. Honestly, not a bad idea since he already has such high stats. Being able to throw more under his control isn't terrible. Reduced attrition isn't bad either. Yeah, I don't know if we need to make a decision on this right now, but good to know that we do have a few extra traits that I can work toward. Oh, right, we actually need to be making progress on our next national focus. Let's go for the wake of a giant. Don't worry, we didn't actually lose any progress along there. We're completely fine. And there it is. The battle that followed the expedition finally catching up to Addis's army was truly legendary, to the point that, to this day, the wildest tales are spun about what happened on that day. A little bit awkward phrasing, but alright. Many talk of huge confrontations, pitting the mightiest of the Brotherhood's paladins against behemoths in single combat, thousands of knights inflicting righteous fury upon the cowardly mutants, and shattering their will for decades to come. But all tales, the wildest are of what happened to Rhombus on that day. The truth is, he bought a farm on which he spent his retirement, sets the rule can send volunteer forces, gets national spirit, send volunteers, tension limit, so we can start affecting people around us, or he bought the farm during the battle, consumer goods reduced, mourning survivors. He bought the farm regardless. I assume he retired regardless. Why is this very different? I don't know. So, I don't know. Are we going to be sending volunteers? I guess it depends on what kind of playstyle you want to go for here. Do we really want to focus hard on the, like, the formation of the Provisional Republic of Texas, and maybe that requires a bit more diplomatic, democratic action? Or can I just say, screw it, let's just have a better economy and I'll just conquer things? I'm going to go for the stronger economy because I know that's going to be good, whereas I have no idea if we have any reason to send volunteers as Texas. I'm assuming we do, but I don't know. Let's see. Now, we cannot work on some of these national focuses, even though it looks like it's all green lit right now, it's not. We have to have first done the Fork Less Taken or Texas for Rusk. And the Lone Star has to have finished a focus of their own in order to go down this tree. So this is blocked off at the moment. Can't do anything over here either, also have to go work down the middle route. Can't get the changes in deputization law either. Okay, so Dallas developments for extra workshops is fine. These are both the same, it's just in different locations. Doctrinal thoughts, extra doctrine speed, not bad. Texas for Rusk gives us extra division organization, or we can go for division speed. Well, the organization generally is better, but what does this lead to? Roosts for guns, less organization, so it kind of offsets this a little bit, but we get 8% more recruitable population, oh my god. Or boost for vehicles, and boost for doctrines. Well, I like the doctrines. Military heritage, give us extra research speed for a few things. We have to go down this route. Rusk for Texas, recovery rate. I think I'm going to go down Texas for Rusk, but do I want that first? No. First, I want to get the workshops. I think getting some extra factories always ends up being really, really good for you. Speaking of factories, how are we doing? Only 5 are currently producing anything. Unfortunately, look at those consumer goods. Ugh. Not a fan. Not a fan of that at all. All the more reason for me to get a whole load of bottle caps so I can start doing some investments in small business and get 20% more factory construction speed. Fewer civilian factories than 12. Oh, we can't do this. I have too much business. I guess this is actually kind of more of a catch-up mechanic then. Oh. Well, I guess we can lift taxes on luxury goods, but you have to lose 150,000 bottle caps. That seems expensive. I don't really care about the political bribes. Ah. Alright, so none of this actually strikes me as that important, really, but alright. Alright, we'll work on that. Let's see. So, with the ruler faction ideology, I don't see any evidence so far in politics that we are going to have any issues as far... Oh, hello. Any issues so far, like, for other ideologies taking over, so we're pretty darn dominant. If I can get more ruler ideology, that'd be nice, but maybe not. The general stirs. Santa Ana has slumbered in Rio Grande. Ah, yes. The insane AIs over here are starting to fight in Mexico. Also, Lanius has decided to start conquering the nearby Blue Rose Society. Yeah, that's a really early war for them, but that's fine. I mean, honestly, I think Lanius' cohort would be really fun to play. Really fun to play, but we'll continue with this. Let's just sort of see what happens, you know? Maybe we end up having to fight like a super behemoth Lanius' cohort. I don't know yet. I don't know. Do we even have a navy yet? We have a single ship right over here. Hello. Okay, well, do we have any admirals? Nope, we don't have any admirals. Well, we'll just go ahead and get one. Might as well have an admiral at some point, right? Not that it matters too much. Looks like the Washington Brotherhood is doing their thing. We've had fun with them in the past. I do like my Brotherhoods. Brotherhoods are good. They are very, very good. Focus on the internal sphere. I'm just seeing if there's anything here that strikes me as really useful. Could start getting some experience. We would get the manpower back. It's just a way of using up our command power in order to just get experience, which I like. We could focus mostly on just getting army experience per day. Honestly, I think this is worth doing. As long as we get the manpower back, it doesn't really hurt. Let's do some simulations and just start ramping that up. Ohm's Law for the research speed. Good, making up for the fact that I'm terrible at research. Lovely. Should we start working on doctrines, or is there anything else I would rather have? Well, resource gain efficiency can be nice. Monthly population is pretty darn important. I think I'm going to go ahead and focus on lots of industry tech to start. But there we go. We're at a minus 8%. And the military heritage being as bad as it is, like, that is genuinely rough. That is generally pretty rough. Alright, economic policy. Civilian factory construction speed would not be a bad idea. Don't want to do that. Gun runner opinion. Alright, the guys who can, like, sell you extra guns for caps. The captain of industry makes a bit of sense. Are there any, like, advisors that would help a lot? Well, refined warfare research speed certainly seems like the game wants me to go for a specific doctrinal path. And we might end up doing that, I don't know. Production policies, power armor, etc. Just seeing if any of these are better. I think what we really want, though, is just to ramp up civilian factory construction speed. This actually does the same thing, so it's not bad. There's actually quite a few different production companies we can get. What's this one, though? Pre-war designs? Can't do that unless you have specific locations, so we have to have major businesses. Well, okay. Cultural advisors? I mean, getting extra political power is also a really good choice. I mean, yeah, Richard Chamberlain's probably a better thing to get, because more political power gain lets me start modifying my government more often. So we're going to go ahead and pick up Richard Chamberlain. Start getting a lot of extra political power. We could also change up some other laws in order to try and get that fixed too. Indentured servitude. I do tend to like that. What is this 15% brutality? I don't know what that means. Do we go for more factories? Honestly, I think the answer is yes. Just ramping up that industry is going to end up being huge for me. We have one extra factory. Now, question, what templates do we already have? So, riot control appears to be power armor at the moment. It's already 10 combat with only 4 units? Really? Oh, that's interesting. Okay. We don't need support equipment for any of that. What about light patrols? Kind of curious how these guys shape up. So, soft attack is like 40, as opposed to 34, but these guys have 12 combat width. They have better hard attack. Reasonably good defense, shockingly. Much worse breakthrough, though, and no armor to speak of. These guys aren't that bad. These lawkeepers? Dude, if we can get, like, some actual, like, Texas gunslinger units, that'd be kind of fun. Are we going to do that instead of power armor? That'd be a little crazy for me, but maybe. What about rapid response groups? These are just regular special forces, motorized, and regular infantry. None of which really take any support equipment, so I don't desperately need this right now. I think what we really need is just more infantry equipment, because it sounds like I'm going to be going hard on the lawkeepers. Those guys sound kind of cool. All right, yeah. We'll give that one a shot. We'll give that one a shot. Let's use one of those new factories I got in order to trade for a bit of water. Because now I actually do have enough factories using water. I'd like to just go ahead and get my production figured out. And we are enjoying a bit of extra army experience. This is nice. I like getting that. It's great. This lasts for a while, too. Okay. Could start a scavenging program. Cost 10,000 bottle caps. And we'd have to use a couple of civilian factories for a bit. Not sure that I really care, per se. But maybe. You can see right here, by the way, that they have relocated the bottle caps UI like pop-up over here instead. So no longer up top, which is fine. Looking at a pretty reasonable amount of manpower. Wasn't this at 2,200 earlier? I thought it was. How is Lanius' Cohort doing? They still haven't managed to kill the Blue Rose Society, which it appears is led by the Man in Black. Okay, so this is an AI of some sort. All right, let's take a quick look over at the Mojave Chapter. These guys would be tough. They are led by Elder Elijah, who I believe does exist in the Fallout New Vegas series. And they got what looks like a reasonably fun and, again, fairly dense national focus tree. That's the thing I'm noticing in this expansion between things like the Mojave Chapter and Lanius' Cohort. Very linear, straight down, but there's a lot to do. There's a lot to do. Lone Star also has a fair bit, but they're actually fairly spread out. Not too sure how they interact with us. That's the thing. Apparently, the Texan Brotherhood and the Lone Star are supposed to be pretty buddy-buddy, but maybe that breaks apart. Maybe it doesn't. I don't know. I've just been told that we can form a new government in some way with them. As long as I lead that government, I'm okay with it. But if I have to share leadership, I'm a little bit less okay with it all of a sudden. No. I like to rule this planet. Alright? I like being aggressive. But I'm trying to be somewhat good guy aggressive this time. We'll see what ends up happening over there. Let's see. About to be done with the simulator unit tactics. I think we'll end up doing it again. We've got more than enough command power at this point. So let's just keep ramping up the army experience so I can keep modifying templates. We got 36 out of that arrangement. 36 army experience for basically no cost on my end. Didn't cost me any equipment to train up my units. That's good. That's pretty good for me. Let's see. Houston Rockets. What would it cost me to justify a war goal? It would take a long time is the downside. Alright, so I'm not a big fan of that arrangement. We did finish with the woodworking tech, so I do have the extra construction speed. A little ahead of time there. Resource gain efficiency. Energy cell capacity doesn't attract me too much. So now I think we are going to end up going for land doctrine. And yeah, they want me to go for refined warfare specifically. Okay. That does ultimately work well with my special forces and my walking tanks and stuff. Power armor. So this is okay with me. It kind of works with what I was already planning on doing. Let's go for the concentration of force for the extra recovery rate and the organization. All that seems reasonable. And let's see, that's ahead of time, so no thank you for that. Do we want to get the crowd gear and just see what happens? I don't think that's necessarily what we want. We could go... Oh, this is all ahead of time, too. What about production efficiency cap with the automation? Yes, we'll do that. That's just fine. And we could research the gliders, or I could start working on some encryption, decryption tech. Is there anything under special buffs I can do? It looks like the answer to that is no. Okay. Just making sure there's nothing I really want. I mean, getting extra resource gain efficiency is not a bad idea. Do we have a lot of resources? Let's double check that. There it is. We got a reasonable amount. I mean, more trade isn't terrible. Alright, for an extra 8%, let's just go ahead and do that instead. I think that that's a completely reasonable thing for me to do. Okay. How are we looking on that national focus? About to be done. Shale's army declared war on carbon. Shale's army is one of the new ones down here. There they are. These guys are led by trolls, I believe, or some sort of mutants. So there they are. Addis army remnants. These sound like the kind of people that I want to kill. Okay, well, sounds to me like we're going to do that. Fort Hood developments is done. Cool. Now we could go for the research bonuses toward doctrines, but instead I'm going to go for Texas for Rusk. I assume no new options have presented themselves. The answer is no. Okay, so we're going to go down the left path and get that division organization. Organization, as a general rule, is just strong, and I like having lots of it. Okay, and it looks like some other people are getting annexed, blah, blah, blah. The world is starting to get a little bit Harry already. Look how many freaking factions are on the map now. I remember when this game was a lot smaller than this. Dang, I love Old World Blues. All right, well, this is a good place for us to end this video. As always, first video has a little bit to do with just kind of letting things kind of develop, get the background story together, and start setting up for victory in the future, and that is exactly what we are going for this time around. I'm going to try to be a good guy through and form a really good, free, united Texas if possible, but if the Lone Star decides to screw me over, or I find out that I'm not going to be in charge of this future government, I'll happily betray them and go on a conquest spree if we have to. A-okay with me. This music's also a little bit aggressive. Thank you all very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. If so, then I would ask you to hit that like button, leave a comment, and subscribe, and I will see you guys next time.
All right, let's go ahead and do it.